It's time for our Sunday sit-down, and we sit down today with Phillies third baseman Alec Bohm. Thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Yep, thanks for having me.
All right, before we talk about this year and how much fun it seems like you guys are having this year, winning baseball games and having success, I want to bring you back a couple of years. I want to bring you back to growing up in Omaha, Nebraska, and an accomplished high school baseball player, and you're getting ready to graduate. And I found it odd. I always find it interesting to go back and look at those stories. Not drafted out of high school, despite being the top high school baseball player in the state of Nebraska. What was that like for you? Were you surprised that you weren't drafted? Take me through that time.
No, I mean, it wasn't really a surprise, but I just think, looking back on it, I think out of high school, I definitely wasn't ready for professional baseball, being off on my own, being on a team where there's two, sometimes more languages being spoken, and, you're just I was just young, and I don't think really ready for that now, gone through it. But so I think everything worked out, just the way it was supposed to, and we ended up where we were supposed to be.
And that place was Wichita State. You end up playing 3 years there. And obviously, college is that time of your life where you're figuring things out. You're growing up. For you, also growing physically, right? I mean, I understand at that point you weren't always this size, right? When did you kind of grow into your adult body that allows you to play the way you play nowadays?
Yeah, I think I went into college a little heavier than I am now. Okay. And I think just like baby fat and all that, and I think I really just grew up, and then being on the field practicing for all the hours of the day and working out and doing extra work and all this, like when I got to college it became much more baseball oriented, and if I wasn't baseball it was working out, and then it was class and all that stuff too. So it was just a super busy schedule that kept me going and kind of groomed me into, I guess, what I am today.
And obviously it worked out because you're the third overall pick at that point by the Philadelphia Phillies. Tell me about that time. What do you remember about getting ready for the draft? Obviously you knew you were coming out after your junior year. What do you remember about that time? And did you have a sense that you'd be in that top 5 kind of area?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really know until the day of. It was always just like, yeah, there's a chance, all that, but you don't really know what you hear and what to believe and all that stuff. So I think what I remember from it was just we were really, because we had to win our conference tournament to make it, so I really wasn't thinking about the draft and all that stuff. I was more thinking I was going to be playing next week and the week after that. So, and then once that all ended and we were done, that's kind of when the mind went to the draft and all that stuff. And then it all, looking back, it seems like it all went pretty fast, but I'm sure in the moment it was kind of a lot of wondering, a lot of what's going to happen, where am I going to end up, where am I going to be for the next however many years of my life and all that stuff. But it's worked out pretty good so far.
When you put that all in perspective, when you think about that one decision that's kind of out of your hands, that is now going to dictate what your life looks like for the next couple of years. I mean, that is the nature of being a professional athlete. But as you think back and look back and put it in perspective, it's kind of interesting how your life path kind of takes you in that regard, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, especially in this game, sports in general, things can turn on a dime. So I think it really just kind of keeps you humble, keeps you where you are, and doesn't let you get to thinking too far into the future or, anything like that. Just kind of, keeps your focus on today and what you got.
Obviously, you get drafted in the first round, number 3 overall. You're on a fast track. You're going through the minor leagues with the thought that, hey, hopefully I'm going to get to the big leagues soon. And that did happen for you, but it happened in 2020, which is a year that we'll all never forget. Again, think back to that time. You originally were up in Allentown as part of the pool. What was that like as we all kind of dealt with the pandemic, but you're trying to also, realize your dream and get to the big leagues?
Yeah, it was weird. We tried to make it as fun as we could. Obviously, the no atmosphere part of it was tough to, after, you get going through the same day over and over at the alternate site. We're facing the same, 6 pitchers every day, where it got very bland very fast, and it was, hard to stay focused and take stuff serious and things like that. But, for me, just then getting called up in that season and playing big league baseball, but the stadium's as empty as it is right now. And for me, it was like obviously my MLB debut and the first time playing in the big league, so I'm as locked in as like I could ever be and excited and all that. So I'm sure that fed into a lot of the success I had, where I'm on a field with a lot of guys that are just kind of like confused with what's going on. And so it was, for me, it was the first experience was weird, and that's what made 21 a different, I guess, too, and kind of a transition. And I struggled a little bit, and the game seemed faster, and then we had the clock, and now like the game kind of speeds up some more. So it's been in my first 4 years, there's kind of been something different or new every single year. So it's been fun. I feel like I've learned a lot, learned fast, and I wouldn't trade it for anything.
That's what this game's all about, right? And continuing to adjust and learn on the fly. Before we leave 2020, I just want to ask you, in looking back, I remember the viral video of your parents getting a chance to watch your Major League debut. They weren't here, obviously, because fans weren't allowed, but you got a double in your first at-bat, if I remember correctly. And what do you remember about your parents' reaction and all that?
Seeing them on the video and everything of that, and it's just like kind of a token and a reminder of just kind of how strange it all was. And it's definitely obviously I probably would have never forgot my first hit anyway, but I think they especially won't forget a lot of things from my first season, and just because of the circumstances and everything.
Nice that it's all changed and back to normal at this point. All right, let's jump ahead, because 2024 has been a fun season for this team, for you, I would imagine, as well. I was watching the other day some of the highlights, and you hit a double, you slid into second, you jumped up, you did whatever you guys are doing nowadays. But then it was the big smile on your face that I think struck me. It just seems as though the game, winning is fun, right? And the game and this group of guys is pretty fun. Talk a little bit about the atmosphere around what's happening right now.
Yeah, you said it. Winning is fun, and I think it's just kind of a little bit of an accumulation of all the ups, downs, and in-betweens that we've gone through over the last 4 years that I've been here, but probably 2 years that this whole kind of group has been together. And I think we've learned a lot of valuable lessons, and I think along the way where we've just gotten a lot more trust in each other over the years. That's all grown, and I think that just our kind of the way we see the game, the way we approach the game, the way we feel about the game, I think it's a lot less individual based, and like guys aren't worried about what they're individually doing. It's so much just about showing up and winning a game today. And I think that's what's really kind of fueled us through the start of this season. And I think being able to start out good and not be struggling early and looking up at everybody else and kind of chasing from the back and all those things, I think we've just kind of been able to kind of calmly just put it together and win baseball games and play the game the right way, and not be worried about who we're playing on the other side, and just take care of our business, be prepared, and play the game.
And the results come with all of that, for sure. Of course, you're not worried about individual stuff, but you did get a pretty nice individual award back, Player of the Week, National League Player of the Week. That week for you was remarkable. We talked to you, I think, 3 times on the post-game show during that week. You hit over 571 or something like that. The numbers were ridiculous. What's that feel like when you're in a zone like that, when you're so locked in? What's that like?
I think it's just, all the stars align, and your body, your mind, your eyes, they're all synced up in the box, and you're also getting the pitches that you can handle. And I just think everything kind of lines up for you when guys get into stretches like that. I think, for me, when I think back to it and look at it, it's just, I wasn't swinging at stuff off the plate. Most all the pitches I hit were right over the middle of the plate, and I think that's kind of when you can get into those grooves of where you're just calm and easy, and you just swing at all the right stuff, I think you have a lot better chance of things landing out there for sure.
I had Trey on 2 weeks ago, and I asked him about his week where he was National League Player of the Week. It was right before you, and he talked about the collaboration that you guys all have together back there in the cage when you're watching each other's swings and you're talking about the pitcher that night and you're doing. How helpful is all of that kind of stuff between all the guys as you guys work and get ready for the game?
Yeah, I think that's one thing that I've noticed this year that we've all, as a group, have been a lot better about, and I think have kind of leaned into more, is talking to each other about our swings and about what we're seeing out there, the pitcher, the approach, how we're attacking this guy, what we're looking for, all those different things, what he's done to you in the past, everything. And I think that's been kind of something that's translated to the game, is just guys are a lot more comfortable like opening up and talking about their swing or saying things they see on someone else or whatever it might be. And like Trey's given me some cues that have helped me out a ton, and I think it's just that collaboration is really, you put a bunch of good hitters around a bunch of good hitters, and I think, in a way we're all kind of making each other better.
All right, I can't leave the baseball conversation before I ask you about your defense, because your defense this year, obviously you're at third base virtually all the time now, whereas last year you spent a lot of time over at first. Getting comfortable at third base and the way that you approach your job every day defensively, how much fun is it to be over there and to be playing at the level you're playing defensively?
Yeah, I think obviously fun when you can help out the pitcher and keep some runs off the board and make some plays for him. But I think it's just more of just being relaxed out there, not, wondering if this guy's going to hit the ball at me, and then kind of like just trying to make the perfect reaction and do all this stuff and be an infielder. And, a lot of it was just trying so hard to do the right thing instead of just playing the game, So I think now my mindset and my just everything out there is a lot more clear, free, easy, and not that the game is easy, but I just react instead of try, in a way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, this game's never easy, right? Yeah, Kevin Stocker says this all the time, the mentality, I gotta do something versus I get to do something kind of thing. And, I think that's a similar thing that you're saying. All right, I'm not going back in time and asking you about anything, but I do want to ask you about the giveaway this year that the Phillies had. I love this place. The Alec Bohm I Love This Place t-shirt. I'm just curious, how did they come to you with that idea, and if so, how did that all play out?
I'm pretty sure it was brought up to me in spring, and they kind of just asked just to kind of check the box and make sure if I was okay with it. And, obviously, yeah, it's fine. I'm not going to – there's still no hiding from it. So, it is what it is. It was fun. Hopefully people enjoyed it and they like the shirts, and, yeah.
I thought it was great, to be honest with you. It was a teaching moment for everybody, right? And that's what it was. I love the way you approach that. All right. Before I let you go, I got a couple of quick hitters for you that I want to ask you. So first and foremost, on Twitter right now, there's a raging debate about the best Phillies uniform. So why not go right to one of the guys that wears them, right? Your favorite uniform that you've had the opportunity to wear?
I'm a fan of the blues, the throwbacks. Those are always it's the uniform I debuted in. That's kind of always been my favorite.
All right, the powder blues, get your vote. I like it. All right, you grew up in Omaha, Nebraska. The 36th president of the United States, Gerald Ford, also grew up in Nebraska. So I'm going to assume after baseball, you'll make a run for the presidency. If you did, which teammate would be your running mate?
I got to go with Marsh. I think we could get a couple votes. I don't know. I'm sure we could actually win, but...
That would be a great ticket. Can you think of a slogan for you two?
No.
Not one that you could say here. I get it. It's totally fine. Totally fine. All right, so we've got Bohm Marsh 2034. All right, I look forward to it. All right, speaking of your roommate, Brandon Marsh, if we were to stop by your place right now, whose room would be messier at this point?
I still haven't unpacked from the last road trip, so I got to wear that one. It'd probably be mine.
All right, good. I'm glad you're wearing it. All right, finally, obviously you're an accomplished athlete, but let's say you did not play baseball. Let's say you went a different route and were a summer Olympian. What summer Olympic sport do you think that you would excel in?
You know, either is throwing the javelin. I got a long.
Okay.
I might be able to do that. Probably hurt. I've always wondered what pole vaulting's like.
At 6'5", you do the pole vault.
That doesn't sound safe. I don't know. Not much of a. Give me a list of some summer sports.
Well, I was thinking beach volleyball for you. I thought maybe that would work for you.
I could get down with that. I could.
You like the beach?
Yeah, I like the beach. I got some size, long. I could do it.
Which teammate would be your partner, do you think?
Give me one of the. I think Strom. I like Strom's length.
Okay.
I think he could hit a volleyball pretty hard.
All right, Matt Strom it is. Alec, we appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.